All right. This is the Mansfield bedroom here.
Yeah,
Nice. Did you turn lights on? It looks brighter.
yeah, I turned a light on.
I was going to say, can't be turning into day there. You don't live in Asia. All right, man. Well, I'm recording.
All right.
So we're back. This is the fourth episode you've done, right?
Yes.
You have 4 times more than pretty much everybody else in double Monty. So need to make some plaques or something. Maybe in like a year when there's a few more.
Like a diamond play button.
Yeah. I'm packing a bowl now.
Yes, I just did, babe.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was what first popped up when you joined.
When I loaded in.
That was great. It's either going to hurt or help with talking about something like Westworld. We're either going to get
Probably
deeper.
Hurt.
Yeah. It'll hopefully make for some funny moments of long pauses of like, what the fuck? All right. Well, last night was fucking insane.
Yeah, no, dude. I honestly was kind of like, it might be a bad time to do this podcast because last night made me think I have no idea what the fuck is going on the whole time.
That's so true. That's what I watched it with Josh and Janae, and they were saying the same thing. All of us were just like, that literally broke the little logic that applies to this show. Just fucking decimated it. I feel like we should spend like maybe 10, 15 minutes of it if we're going to do like an hour, like 10, 15 minutes maybe just talking about that episode. And then after that, just I think it's something that would be cool to do with this conversation is have the goal of convincing someone to watch it who might not have otherwise been interested. If you feel confident that is the right move to make in life.
Well, I mean, I think it is if you're interested in that kind of in the kind of stuff it explores. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know how to talk about literally anything without trying to spoil it. But I will say that season 3 itself is just completely different of a show. Like it's a different beast. I feel it's like it's still got a lot of the same things going on, like conceptually or whatever, but it's got like just a different pace now.
Yeah, and a different style to it. Everything's like more modern, obviously. There's not as much Western shit. It's like we've gone outside of the facility and you're seeing what was going on out there, which was always one of my big questions. And I feel like that's the only thing that's been predictable about this show. Like I didn't know if they were going to do it season by season or if they were going to get to things quicker, but I knew the progression of the story was going to be like first it starts with Westworld and the where they're in the facility where they're building them. What's that building? What is that called? That company that they make them out? That's not. Is that Delos?
I mean, Delos is like the main like honcho for Westworld. They're the guys who basically run. I think they run most of the parks, if not just Westworld. I think Delos runs the parks because Delos is William's company. And William is the one who originally invested in all that stuff. And then Delos eventually, got old and they tried to replicate him in the whole episode where it's like the record player and stuff. Yeah. So I think that is all. Yeah, that's kind of a weird question. I don't know if it's ever specifically stated I mean, it has to be all the parks, right? I mean, it's gotta be.
Right. Well, initially, I just thought of that place as before Delos even comes into it. I had been thinking of it as just like Westworld was the company that was making these bots or these hosts or whatever, and that it's kind of like a roller coaster park makes the roller coasters. Like I figured it was kind of that was Westworld too. It was like which they do have something like that where you walk in where you're about to get on the train and. They see the you see all the advertisements and shit like that, and like tempting you to go in and like kind of learn you or whatever. And I always thought that was Westworld too, just like the office of it or whatever. But once Delos comes into it, yeah, I guess it kind of blurs the line. I guess it's not really that important of a thing. It's just, that's the facility where they're getting made. But anyway, what I was getting to is I felt like I knew that was going to be like the first step, and then the next step was going to be the host revolting somehow and like mixing with the normal world. And then I knew the next step would probably be greater insight to like what is the normal world and what's going on in the place that created all of this. And I guess that's where season 3 kind of finds itself. But yeah, it feels like a completely different show.
Yeah, my voice is disappearing right now. I don't know why, but yeah, no, there's something about the way it's playing out, because specifically with the last episode, like I was waiting for William to come back because he hasn't been in season 3 at all. And the last we saw him in season 2 was the stinger, where he's in the far, far future apparently, and it's apparently robot William. And that makes you question, how long has William been a bot, and is this all a test, or is it all like my first impression is that the actual test for him starts when because there's a weird moment, right? There's a weird moment in season 1 at the season finale. He is drinking by himself because he's all depressed at the party where Ford ends up killing himself with Dolores shooting him in the back of the head. He's depressed, drinking by himself. William is. That's when hosts show up, and he gets shot in the arm, and he's like got a smile on his face because he's like, oh shit, now they actually can damage me. I'm in the real game now, or whatever. And he gets shot, and then it cuts away. I'm pretty sure the next time we see him is in season 2 when he wakes up and pushes the body off of him at that massacre. So to me, everything from him lifting up that body and pushing it off is him in a loop, and everything from that is him reliving that shit over and over again. And literally it's got him living that same moment, because they talk about how Delos, when he's in the loop, when he's in his little record player thing, the program later on in the end of season 2, when Dolores is looking through all the books of people that they've copied, they talk about Delos, and they talk about how every single time they like ran their projection of how this person's life would play out or whatever, every time they tried to replicate this person's life, every time they did it with Delos, it always led to him disowning his son at that moment by the pool. They said this is the moment that defines James Delos's life.
Right.
And I think they're doing the same thing with William, making it that the moment that defines his life is him shooting his daughter in the park, thinking that she's a host. And he's just got to keep reliving that. And if he's doing that, the point is that they're trying to get him to not do that, so that they can prove that humans' code can change. Because right now they're kind of saying that it can't, that everyone is defined to like eventually have this moment that defines them. Everything else can change, but they will eventually lead to like the moment where kills his daughter or disowns his son. Like those are the moments that define those people.
Right, but you're saying that he's also in this instance, when at the beginning of season 2, that was when he was like woke up as a host, right?
Yep.
And that he still has that's his moment. So is like the idea, would it even be humans overcoming it at that point, or wouldn't it just be like only hosts are able to?
Well, that's the crazy thing, is that in this world, hosts can change their core code. We've already sort of seen Dolores try to change Teddy, and then we've seen Dolores kind of change, because in season 2 she was like gung-ho, ready to annihilate the human race and all of like her people sort of too. She was saying that it's like a reckoning, and like this is coming to, like, she was ready to wipe out the Valley Beyond that everyone was trying to escape to. She was like ready to wipe that shit out and everything. In season 3 she's kind of had like a shift a little bit. And that might have to do with the fact that she Horcruxed herself, which we'll get into.
That's a great comparison.
So we might have a stuff going on there, but I think that she's had a slight change of heart, and that she can see that maybe with Caleb, Aaron Paul's character, being introduced, that there is hope for humankind having free will, because Caleb made a choice that no one else would have made. In that moment, she brings up that line. But
still, I still
to
feel like
me,
I was gonna say I still feel like she's probably, even though she sees that in humans, I feel like her ultimate goal with Caleb is going to be to sort of have him, what's the word? Like transition, I guess, into upload himself into a host body to have the same capabilities and live in the same world. Because it seems like she's on. But I see what you're saying though too, and I feel like that makes sense because everything I keep, especially in this season, I keep coming back to the end of season 2 where she's having that conversation with Bernard in the last episode in the season finale, and it's after she's already had Hale like transformed too, or was Hale for a little bit, and then like it brings her own body back, and you find out that Dolores is like in control of the interrogation scene room, sitting Bernard down, and she says to him like, kind of like they're going to be the yin and yang of this. He's going to be the host that tries to see too much good in the humans and preserve them, and she's going to see too much bad, and that they're going to kind of like balance each other out somehow. And she had somehow, for whatever reason, it looks like she had like the foresight to know that's going to be the outcome, that they're going to have to kind of duke it out in order to find the balance that the world needs. So that's like the only reason I feel like she might be holding on, or maybe having that change of heart. But I feel like even with that change of heart, she's still that end of the spectrum where she's like, everything that I can do to turn people into hosts is what I need to do.
Yeah, Dolores is still that side of the coin, I feel like, but it's just the slight, like in this season she's trying not to off everybody, where in season 2 she didn't give a shit. Where this, she seems like if she has to, she will. Like the newest episode, she has that great sequence where they're trying to get the money, and she's like, "Oh well, if the blood thing doesn't work, I can't just fucking kill everyone." And Aaron Paul's like, "Oh shit, okay." And then she's like about to, like she's got the hand on the gun, so like she's still got an agenda. But I feel like she's not the ruthless robot killer Terminator that she was season 2. She's becoming more human, which is a huge like theme in this show. The same thing, and like Dolores it's happening with all of Dolores's bots, because you see it early in season 3. Hale's having like an existential crisis because she feels like Hale's personality is somehow infusing into her own, because she's been living this lie of this life. So like she feels like she's getting this conflict of like, who am I, blah 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 blah, but it's Dolores the whole time, which is so nuts. Because here's the thing, I sort of called, I like 30% called that twist, because I thought that Hale was a copy of Dolores, but I thought the way they were going with it was that Hale was Dolores and then Dolores stayed as Wyatt. I thought that's what they were going with, and then that's what that yin and yang was, with them like in bed and like holding each other, and they're like wearing the opposite colors the whole episode. So that was my prediction, and I was sort of right, but then I never guessed that all of them.
I didn't believe it. I thought that was the case at first, but then I immediately flipped on it, because I was like, okay, she put somebody else back into Hale, or she kept Hale and altered her code or something like that, but uploaded herself back into her Dolores body. So I thought she had taken everybody, like these people, hostage, but I did not think that she was actually gonna do that. So that's what makes me question it still, is like I felt like she was going that direction, but it's such a egotistical thing to do. Start. How many hosts is she going to do that to? Is she going to do that as many as she can? Does she think everybody should be Dolores? Is she like the Rick and Morty woman with her own planet? And what's that character's name? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh my god, yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember. I just caught up on that show too. I just watched the rest of the Rick and Morty episodes.
Nice. The new trailer just came out for the second half. I need to watch it.
But dude, no, that's the shit that had me shook, because the whole Maeve arc in the last episode, when she comes across what's his name from Shogun World, and that is a fucking copy still. First of all, that I don't know how the fuck that happened, because I literally, Maeve's walking in And I'm watching this with Haley, and I literally went, are they telling me right now that Dolores has infiltrated the Yakuza, and she's the fucking head of the Yakuza right now? Is that what I'm supposed to believe right now? And I was like, I mean, I'm 100% for this shit because I love that type of shit. And it's such a great tie-in with Shogun World, too. I was like, bruh. And then they just bring him back. And I went, oh, my God. But the moment where they're sword fighting and they cut and it's all of that white liquid, dude.
Yeah,
it's she's making fucking bots, dude. I was like, she's making fucking bots and literally gonna have a whole Dolores army. She's fucking what is the movie? She's fucking iRoboting this shit.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, man, it's ridiculous. That definitely looks like the direction she's going. That's
but that makes me question why they needed the riot. I mean, I guess you could still use them, but like that whole tease with the riot suppress units, the big robot in the first episode that Hale's like fucking checking out.
Oh, yeah, you think that's what they're going to make?
That's what I thought they were going with. I thought they were going with more like RoboCop style where it's going to be a bunch of those and that get hacked and shit.
I feel like it's going to be more of that. I think their world is going to be what humans were trying to do to them, but even though they're making them like more human, they're kind of in the stage that it looked like they were going the direction that humankind is in right now, where we're not really trying to build these sentient or arguably sentient things that are having like human-like experiences and are like android slaves or whatnot, in the sense that like making parts, that doesn't seem to be the direction yet. We're more so making robotics that are like weapons or devices that we can use that are just kind of extensions of computers. But I could see, I feels like that might be what they're doing on top of just trying to make all the humans hosts so she's gonna have like a double army so they don't even stand a chance.
Yeah, I don't know what the end game is, honestly, with Dolores, besides, becoming the top dog and making it their world. Hold on, break.
I'll join you, my friend. Cheers.
Cheers. I don't necessarily know what her end game is with like what her ultimate goal wants to be, other than to be top dog. But it has me question, like, so if William's in the far future, when that's a bot version of him, and we're assuming a host version of Emily, his daughter, that makes me think that the cycle just flips. And I always bring up that concept of loops, because this show has loops fucking everywhere, dude. Like Caleb waking up in the same way Dolores does in season 3, that Dolores wakes up, like it's the lights and him like waking up, and it's like literally shot for shot.
I didn't even catch that one.
Yeah, and it's shot for shot the same way Dolores wakes up in her loop, and this is when Caleb is fucking stuck in his loop that Rehoboam allows. Rehoboam won't allow anyone else, or like won't allow him to leave this level of life, because it is deemed this is what's happening to him. We can get into what the fuck's going on with Rehoboam later, but like that's where he starts off with him being like he doesn't have free will either, and that's why he like doesn't get the job he wants. And I love the first shot of him walking, where it's him like, and it's him directly on the line of the shadow. So he's not fully invested in like not being a part of the world or whatever. And then it's totally like, it's this crazy thing where it's like, he has to be on this line, like directly walking this thing that he's always going to work the same day, the same people, the same robot or whatever.
It's all very structured and built for him.
Yeah, and it makes me question how much of it is a simulation, because they do always kind of throw in that line where it's like we could be in a simulation within a simulation.
Yeah.
And it's like, that makes me question, like, if we go so far in the future with William, would the hosts have basically reversed it, so looped it, and now humans are basically the hosts of their own, you know what I mean? And they basically build prisons.
Yeah.
But now their loop is their own like self-destruction type thing, kind of like
torture. Dude, totally. I think, and that would go with, I think, why he might continue to be so empathetic the more he finds out about shit with Dolores, is to feel like he's more like her than he is than humans at that point, and that she can convince him maybe to join her cause all the way. And because he seems still on edge right now, like what the fuck's going on, but still in defense of her too. So I think it's a pretty solid argument too that they are, whether it's a whole nother park in itself and it's been hoaxed or like created and
we're still waiting on the last park reveal. That's my thing. Like we have five, and we've been teased that there's 6. There could be more. That was just a number. They said park 6 at one point, so we just know that there's 6, and we've seen 5. You've seen the 5th one now. Oh. Did you see that? Did you see who that was in that when Maeve and them are walking through? I think it was episode 3 last week, like the week before this one.
Oh yeah. The Nazi, like the Germany part.
Well, yeah, but there's one after that too. When after Maeve starts to it's her and Lee, and they're trying to break out of the system, and they walk into the other park, and they have what's their names? The showrunners of Game of Thrones. They have those guys cameoing, and they're like 2 guys and the medical dudes.
I didn't even realize that was who that was.
That was them, yeah.
No fucking way. Is it the people?
Yeah, it's the 2.
Are you talking about at the end when she like complicates keeps trying to add complexity to the world, and like the people find out that they all have the plans or whatever in their jacket? Is that the world you're talking about?
Yeah, they're trying to figure that out. And when they're walking through there's a tease where they walk in, and on the background you see what the other world is. And it's when they have the giant dragon there with the 2 guys, the showrunners of Game of Thrones there, and they have the fucking model of Drogon in there from fucking Game of Thrones. They literally have Drogon's fucking CG model in there from Game of Thrones with the 2 showrunners, and they're talking about how they're talking about Jurassic Park. They're talking about how, like, in the 80s, some guy tried to do a park, blah, blah, blah. Did you miss all this?
I think I fucking did, dude. I must have been too stoned watching it.
It was really quick, dude. It was a pretty quick moment.
It's such a strange, isolated thing, too. Like, I can't believe I missed it. I don't know if I looked away or... What? You said it was in episode 3?
Yeah, it was the one.
I just watched that one.
I'll
have to go back. Is it at the end?
No, it's like mid-episode. Let me see. Hold on. It might be the Winter Lion. Hold on. I don't know. No, it's the second episode. Okay. Because D.B. Weiss and David Benioff are techs in the second episode, the Winter Line. Yeah, it's when she overloads. It's when she overloads the system. So it could necessarily, like, that. That's a big question mark of what all that bullshit even is. But if we're to believe that Maeve thought she was in the park and Warworld is one, then I would also believe that whatever the Crusade Park or the medieval park is also one of, or the 5th one that we know of. Okay. And I think I remember it now, dude, because I remember them being in that. I just don't remember seeing the shit they were testing. I can remember they all were in like kind of similar glass casings that they would have the hosts in, right? And the one dude even fights with an axe, like the blonde guy even tries. Yeah.
That I remember. I don't remember the other shit though. I need to go back and
Drogon
watch it.
They literally paid for Drogon's CG model to like lift its head and put it down in a wide shot, and then that was it.
Hilarious,
but it's,
man.
Yeah.
We were joking last night that we imagine Elon Musk's gonna be in an episode soon. He said, because Josh pointed out there was a rocket in the background in one shot. I think it was early in the episode, somewhere with Dolores, I'm pretty sure. And he was saying it looked like something, or that it looked similar to one of the rockets at SpaceX. That'd be ridiculous if he becomes an investor in a park or something like that.
Right. That'd be funny.
That's dope. A cameo of the Game of Thrones guys, though. That's crazy.
And they're talking about like Jurassic Park. Apparently, like it was a throwaway line, but like it's funny to think that like Jurassic Park was like an original like park with robots that they faked, and like it's actually just a bunch of robotic dinosaurs. That would be funny. And the T-Rex goes off its loop. But No, there's that, and they kind of throw it away, but that's to me the fifth confirmed park. And here's the thing, like if that's so that makes Westworld the first, and then we don't know the order of which ones came after, but we got Raj World, we got fucking Shogun World, we got War World, and then Medieval World. So my theory is that somehow, somewhere, there is a simulation going on. I like to think it isn't Caleb's storyline, but there is a lot of weird shit going on with Caleb being like his mom's like disappeared and left him when he was a kid, and then like shows up later and then gets hospitalized for like schizophrenia, and then she's like, I want my son back. Like there's a lot of weird shit going on with Caleb.
Yeah. I thought she had dementia. That was that scene because she wasn't remembering him, but it is schizophrenia. And that was like a really interesting thing to throw into the mix here. I just can't imagine. It's got to have some context and meaning of what they're going to do with it, that whole scenario and his background and stuff. And I need to look at have you looked at the timeline yet where it has like other details that kind of build the world? There's like a whole backstory. There's other factors of a backstory that I don't know if they're going to be included in future episodes. I guess that's the risk, because it's all updated to like the most recent episode. But there's some things on the timeline that talk about Caleb's past of like cracking his head open and shit like that. And
I think I might have heard something about that. Yeah,
all the stuff, things like that. I don't know what all else is on there, but yeah, it
makes me question stuff, because like they're all backstories, man. They're all like program backstories, like everyone gets, and I'm over here like I'm like, because technically Bernard's is real, but it's Arnold's memories. It's not his, and so like it gets to that crazy thing where it's like, so are they new people now? Because like Bernard is a weird combination of Arnold and like Bernard, the version, whatever. And then the version they built, I
like to call him Arnold.
So like, is it going to be this thing where like Caleb eventually realizes that he's been in a chamber this whole time? Because here's the craziest thing is that the movies, the original movie that Westworld's based off of, the first one's just Westworld, and then they start going into other parks, and that's where they kind of got inspiration from these other parks in. And then, like, I'm pretty sure the last movie they made, it's called Future World. And it's literally about them swapping out, like, major political figures with hosts and, like, fucking with the world. And, like, that's what that movie is. It's not very good. It's not as good as the original. But it is Future World. And I think Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan have commented about it, and they said that they haven't like pulled from that necessarily. Like they're not like verbatim taking anything from anything, but I refuse to believe that it's a coincidence that it's that similar of a plot. And then, but that means Future World could be the sixth park. Like we could not be this. I don't know how it works. Like, are we not this advanced then, or what the fuck is even happening then? Like, what is, that breaks everything for me. And that's where my mind starts to hurt.
Yeah, that's like 90% of the show is just your mind hurting, but because
like if you take this for surface value, the show is very simple. If you
said simple,
like if you take it for surface value, you're like, oh yeah, so this guy who is being down on his luck, finds this hot chick, and she's like, I have money and I can get you the freedom you want and the life you want.
Yeah, dude, that is at the core. It has that like classic story. That's kind of what the whole show is it's just jamming all these classic stories together and creating these insanely deep backstories for everyone that overlap with the idea that some are AI, and which it kind of uses its own. I guess that's probably the most original thing it kind of does with what genre it's one of the genres it's playing into, or one of the classic stories, like all the classic or AI stories that already exist. It's meshing all of those together. There's more packed into this show than any show I think I've ever seen, even more than Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah. this is an Attack on Titan for me. Attack on Titan does it quicker, which is I don't know how.
Yeah, that's fair.
Attack on
I
yeah.
still need to catch up.
Season.
I'm sorry. I'm big sleeping. But dude, you need to watch Better Call
It's
Saul. I'm holding you
yeah, you're right.
accountable for that one now. I just finished
uh,
season 4 today and it's insane.
nice.
I think it might be just as good as Breaking Bad for me at this point.
Hell yeah, that's good to hear.
They're very different. Not to get too deep into it, but they're very different. But they're both just as good at achieving what they're trying to achieve, and it's so fun.
But like my biggest, well, not biggest, but another fucking question I have is like, how much is Ford still going to be involved? Are we done with seeing Ford forever? Because last we saw him, he was kind of in Bernard, kind of not.
I don't think. Yeah, I
And
think we'll still see him.
I feel and like where does his plan end? What all is? Because like Journey into Night is where he said that's where it's, and that's a Shakespeare fucking like thing, and hadn't been like making this my story, because season 1 ends with like the tease of Teddy and her, and she keeps saying this line, or Dolores has this line where like she's like, I can see the future, blah blah blah, and like it ends, the ending is me and you together, Teddy, and then we know that isn't how it's working out right now, because she fucking beamed him away. But if it's all supposed to loop back somehow again, and it is Ford still fucking with everybody and somehow pulling the strings, dude, I don't know what the fuck is the point and the goal. Like there's so many moving parts that it's hard to tell what actually is the storyline. Like, and I think that's what people's main qualms with it is. But I think that's its strength, because it's still coherent in a sense that you can watch it moment to moment and understand what's going on. But then when you sit back and think about it, it just gets more complex the more you think about it, because there's so many things that are still left unanswered, to be fair. Like there's still a bunch of question marks that I need answered, but they have been answering a lot.
Yeah,
well.
that's what's so unconventional about it is for every question it answers, it asks 2 more, and you're still asking some of the same questions you were asking from the very first episode of the first season, but you're also asking a lot of new questions, and you've had a lot of questions that you had throughout that experience be answered as you continue to have more. And it's jumping around a lot as far as what it's giving you. But I do think that's its strength, because ultimately that's what you're doing all the time with a story, is you're choosing how much to reveal while still being in control. And I think that's what's so risky about this show, and why I still am in a position where I could see myself hating it before it's done, because I don't think it would take a lot to derail something like this. My only issue with it at this point is I feel like some of the dialogue and the action has got a little bit, what's the word? I don't know. I'm trying not to be too much of a, because you have to suspend your disbelief and whatnot, but there's some points where I'm like, okay, that would have they would have got fucked up from that. Or they stop in like a critical moment and have like a big conversation, and I'm like, how have you not got shot? Like, it's just, in some of the dialogue, just a little bit of it. But for the most part, I still think that's one of my favorite parts about it too, is the character development and especially the acting. And
yeah, it's weird. There's some weird it's got some weird, like, not ups and downs necessarily, but there's usually a couple standout episodes that are just above and beyond everything else.
Yeah.
For me in season 2, that's like the episode with Delos in the simulation, where it starts with the long take going in the circle. Like that whole episode, Lisa Joy did. That episode's immaculate. I think the first episode of season 2 is immaculate. I think that one, and I think the one with Akichita, where it's just him going through and like doing that. I think that's an immaculate episode. So there's just moment, and then everything else is like, it's like the things you need to witness and understand, but it is like, getting to the big thematic moments, rather than, it goes from like thematic and emotional to like plot. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. And then you get a great character episode. And here's like an episode with the Man in Black, the entire episode, or here's someone you've never seen before, and he'll suddenly become your favorite character ever. Like,
yeah, I want to look at a list of how many characters, like regularly occurring characters there are in this show. How many it is? Because
Well, Kichita's literally in the scene where they first pitch Westworld to Delos's son. Fuck, I can't remember his name, but the one who goes in the park with William that ends up riding a horse. When they're
Logan.
Logan. When they're selling it to him, the guy who's with the girl, because it's the girl who is the one who introduces Billy the first time to Westworld, and she's the one who like blows up the forge. It's her and Akichita, and those are the two who meet with him to sell, and they're both fucking hosts. And I'm like, it's Akichita literally in a suit with his hair slicked back and short, and he's like completely clean shaven. Yeah, no, they use him all the time. And like
I've seen them do that with other hosts. Like they did that last night. One of the prostitutes in the showroom was the one blonde girl who was with William and what's his name? His partner. William's like weird Hispanic partner in crime, but also enemy that he ends up killing.
Lawrence,
yeah. She was there with them, but then she's like in the real world too. She's in it a couple times. She's the one that like flirts with Logan in season 2 when he starts like going crazy. And then last night's episode. I didn't notice them do it with other ones though. That's crazy, dude. Yeah. This show has a lot of rewatch value. I don't know if I ever will because there's a lot of episodes.
No, here's the thing. Like I've rewatched it twice, or not twice, but like I've rewatched it with Haley. And it's like it makes so much more sense, but it's like I still wish I had a linear cut. Like I still wish I had like a linear cut of the whole show where it puts everything in order, just so I can fully grasp it. Because I get everything it's doing, and I get most of the story beats, and even the history that they don't even really go into, like the whole thing with like how damn near everything you see into season 2 takes place like before the park is like open, like literally before the man, well, not open, but like before the Man in Black goes in for the last time,
right?
When he goes in, like, but where he's in season 1 with Dolores, like that's the first time he comes back to the park or whatever. Like damn near everything you see in season 2 is before all that shit, and like getting all of that sorted out is kind of a pain. But once you understand it, you can start, and especially on a rewatch, the thing that's great about the rewatch is that you put the pieces together quicker in the moment when you're watching. You're like, okay, this is when this is taking place. Okay, this is when this is taking place. Okay, this is
a lot of the secrets that have already been revealed that you can already kind of be the setup.
Yeah, and then you start noticing the dialogue loops and like the little things they keep fucking hiding everywhere. That's why I think I overthink a lot of it, which is part of the fun I like, is that I think there's probably more. I probably think there's more going on than there is. Because like for me, it's even getting to the point where like the what is it? I don't know what the app's called, but the crime app that Caleb has, that's like the underground Uber for criminals. Shit. Yeah. The fact that that's like a thing, it's so crazy because in the real world it still has everything that's in Westworld and in the parks. Like that is still getting, the quests from Westworld, and that's like getting, your quest lines from Westworld to go do a robbery or a job or whatever. And then we just got introduced to Yakuza, which is Shogun World, like in it, but it's still the same vibe, even the same main dude. Like I could see him introducing. I mean, I guess they can't introduce. I mean, they're introducing sort of the Serac as sort of the British guy, British occupied.
He's French. I thought he was British too, dude, but apparently he's French, right?
He's French. Yeah, because he's from Paris. That apparently is no longer.
Yeah.
Which also makes me question how much is gone, dude. Because if we're going with the idea that the nukes have already gone off, because I thought that's sort of where Dolores' endgame was going to be this season, just based off of the poster. Like that's it, just the poster. I sort of thought that's where her goal was going. But if that shit's already passed, then we could literally just be, again, seeing their version of the world they built to torture humans, like in this thing. I have no idea. It's getting crazy at this point. But like my one theory I do have that I can kind of stand by is that Serac isn't real. And it's somehow Rehoboam's like manifest version, because I don't think they did a weird thing, and I took very close attention to it in the last episode, because she's with Maeve. And every other scenario we've seen, he's been a hologram. And the one that she's with Maeve in the weird garden place, I don't know if that's necessarily real. That could be fucking in a system. I don't know what the hell's going on there. So I kind of disregarded that. And then the Maeve last night, or the last episode with Serac, he has a guy being tortured and he pulls out some glasses, and I'm over here watching like super close, and the Serac puts on the glasses onto the guy's head. And then that's how he starts seeing like the torture shit happening to him or whatever. And this guy, and I was like, okay, so he has to be real, right? But then I started questioning, like, where is Maeve? Like, where even is she right now? Like, we don't get her in the real world until what, the Yakuza?
Yeah, and even that is that. Yeah, I think so. What did she do right before that? That's the first place she goes after she leaves that room, right? No, she goes
in the
she goes to
market
find
or
that
whatever.
one doctor, right?
Yeah. She goes to the doctor, but I think that's in the marketplace still. I think that's where she goes, like, after she's like shows up in this like marketplace, and then she finds the morgue doctor chick that I think is, still Yakuza, I'm pretty sure. And she kills the Yakuza guys and then takes her, and she takes him to the head honcho, which is that's the biggest question mark for me, is how did Dolores get this host? But I mean, I guess she doesn't necessarily need the bodies of the hosts. She can replicate them. Weird.
Or are you thinking that whole place where Maeve was was some sort of simulated thing too?
Everything with Serac, I'm still kind of questioning, because they did a weird thing where they were giving a lot of attention to him putting on like these glasses onto somebody, and I think it's to trick us to thinking he's real.
Yeah.
But they're being really smart about it, because those are two scenarios we didn't see how we got there. And it's Maeve. Maeve's always, kind of been ethereal with her scenes, but they're just avoiding using those bars like they did it with Lee in the first episode, where we thought we were actually in War World, but then it goes boom, aspect ratio change, and you're like, okay, we weren't in there. So I could see him doing a similar thing where, like, boom, Maeve's been with like Rehoboam or whatever the fuck, because the last we saw Maeve, her thing was on the fucking ground. She was trying to escape and it was on the fucking ground. So it's a lot of what the fuck's going on.
Yeah,
that's right now.
Yeah, she's extremely unclear. The only thing that seems, which is very bizarre, but the only person we're following anymore that seems arguably in the real world is the storyline following Dolores. It is an unsettling thought.
And now she's just making clones.
What's that?
And now she's just making clones, which is really smart. I didn't see it coming, and it makes a lot of sense, actually. Because it makes more sense than, like, how did she get Teddy out? And where the fuck are all those people who are in the Valley Beyond? Like, why would she, like, my original easiest guess was that it was Clementine, and that just makes the most sense because she's violent and kind of sweet and still, like, powerful. But yeah, after watching it, because I thought that in the hitman guy or the bodyguard guy, that was the bodyguard to her ex-lover. I thought that was going to be Abernathy. I thought that was going to be her dad that she put in there.
Yeah, that was someone. That's what I was thinking too. Is she was going to put him and what's his name? Her old boyfriend. You still there?
But I think we're breaking up.
Oh, fuck. Oh, there we go. Nice. Go Zoom. Oh, shit. It's saying my internet connection's unstable. I'll disconnect from Wi-Fi. What's his name, though? The guy the cowboy?
What cowboy? Wait, what?
Dolores' boyfriend, dead boyfriend.
Oh, Teddy.
Teddy. Yeah, that's what I thought she was going to do with his chip or whatever those things are in their heads and do with her dad. And I figured she had Bernard's. And
Yeah, but it kind of makes, well, she does have Bernards. We do know that.
Uh-huh.
But my question is because she brought out 5, right? She brought out 5 other pearls, and
Mm-hmm.
one of them's Bernard, and now supposedly the rest were clones of herself,
Uh-huh.
copies of herself, which to me makes sense if she made those copies in the forge when she was Hale and after she killed Bernard, and then, or yeah, and
I
then
won-
left. And
I wonder if
but
her
it makes
actual
sense with the fact that
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
it just makes sense, like with her thematic season 2, where she's like, they go on the whole thing where it's like the only thing that matters is what's irreplaceable and stuff. So it makes sense that she would commit to destroying the backups and destroying the stuff to make them as human as possible, so that the loss is still real, and like putting Teddy somewhere that he can be wherever and leaving him there actually has weight, instead of it being old. Just kidding. Now Teddy's here in this pearl, and
Right.
they still, like, that all actually still mattered to Dolores. So all of her like emotional moments still make sense in season 2, instead of her knowing, like, she wouldn't be as that emotional cutting out her like dad's brain if she knew that she was just gonna put him in a body later.
Yeah. Especially if she has this much power, you'd think once she has the ability to like ensure their safety, maybe that's what she's waiting for. Then she's just gonna
Mm-hmm.
clone them and put their chips back in.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, dude, she's about to do some crazy shit. But Maeve's is like her storyline's completely uncertain at
Yeah.
this point. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Especially that I figured that was going to be more of the same with this episode. The biggest surprise was definitely William's character getting like starting to wonder where he even started and if he is actually, because I'm not convinced he's not just a crazy human and that they've broken, but they definitely are making him question whether it's himself or not. I think either would work, but I don't know.
Well, it's so crazy because the same thing's happening. Like, he's being haunted the same way Bernard was haunted by Arnold, or Bernard was haunted by Ford in season 2, when he's like making him shoot the P90 and stuff. It's the same way, like, his daughter's making him shoot the Deagle and stuff, and like going off in the house. Like, but it's like she's definitely not literally in his head, but kind of Ford technically wasn't either. So now is like, are they trying to get William to accept his own conscious state or something, to accept reality?
Mm,
Or I don't know, like, it's getting so crazy with that kind of stuff, dude. Like, because it sounds like he won't accept reality and he's snapping because he's freaking out the same way that Delos sort of freaks out when
yeah.
he starts realizing, and
Yep.
he starts like stuttering and like freaking out like a robot, where
Uh-huh.
they haven't started doing that with
Yeah.
William yet. But it could be just because they're more advanced and farther in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. What year is it set in right now? I think it's in like 2040 or something, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like 2048 or 2052 or some bullshit like that. It's
Okay.
not like stupid far. It's not like stupid far in
Right,
the future,
right.
which is honestly scary because most of the stuff I'm seeing is like realistic to the like our world, which is freaky.
Yeah, I feel like, well, I don't think any of the AI stuff is, but at least a
Oh,
lot of
dude, I don't
this.
know.
Well, I don't. We don't.
Not robots, not robots. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
think. Well, we could get to. That's what's freaky is we can conceptualize it, and we're like way closer to being able to do that than we were when we first started having these ideas. It's like the TV shows and movies; they're just probably inspiring a lot of scientific fanatics, and some of
Well,
them got to be
I'm
freaky,
convinced that
right?
there's an AI somewhere, like a Rehoboam. I'm convinced there's a big ass fucking server hub of a bunch of shit like that. I mean, what's running the internet? You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is I think it's the internet itself. It is kind of. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Rehoboam. The only difference there is it's like this whole. It seems like it's this thing that they've kind of even just. I don't know because it's not like
Well,
fully integrated within society yet, is it? It's not
well,
like telling everybody what they have to do yet.
you ready? You ready? You ready? Here's
Yeah.
Bang Bang Theory. We can maybe wrap up on this because this is as good as I'm gonna get with this stuff. But
Uh huh.
but so how in Westworld the whole idea was that instead of just being a theme park, they're scanning people's brains so that they can map the human brain, right? And
mm,
they're like, so how can? And they're like, we didn't know what we wanted to
mm,
record. We didn't know what to look for, so we recorded everything.
right.
Absolutely everything. And the daughter Emily's like, how the hell would you have ever been able to record what people are thinking all the time. And it's fucking built into the hats in Westworld that you have to like choose or whatever. And that's how they do it in Westworld. Now, they're recording everything that Caleb has ever said in his entire life. So how are they recording a kid in a diner with like all this stuff? How are they recording the literal words coming out of his mouth? They got the fucking shits plugged into their fucking teeth, bro, that are the fucking things they inherit the drugs in. They all got the fucking implant in their teeth. And so Rehoboam is just recording all of that shit. That is just ingrained in the system, and Rehoboam can just fucking record all of what everyone is saying and track them 110% of the time. And dude, I'm like, like why? Besides, you know, obviously for the simulation of, you know, projecting their life expectancy or whatever, but like I don't know, man.
Yeah, dude. Well, I'll give you that. I definitely think Rehoboam is like the most accurate thing represented within how, and it makes sense that's kind of represented in the real world, quote unquote, of Westworld, at least at this point. Because I feel like they're not as far gone. I think the progression of their storyline is going to be like Dolores convincing him, you're going down the same path that they put us on. Are you going to let that happen? Because they still, although it's doing that and that's ridiculous and freaky, they're not to the point where they're controlling him being in the diner, but they're starting the process, I guess, by doing that, by recording everything. Then they can advertise, kind of like
they can make a composite.
More likely that you follow this certain path based on the choices that you're making, and that they start to turn it into an algorithm that's just kind of literally implanted in you, which is similar to kind of the way we're attached to our phones. So, but I feel like AI is still the biggest thing that's still pretty far off of being too similar of AI in the sense of being like humans, and having these replicant type humans that are claiming sentience. But yeah, dude, Rehoboam, that's weird though too, because that seems like it's gonna be the end all be all in some sense for at least like that world or those people and like the human race, at least in the decision of whether they're gonna, because you have this conflict of, okay, there's gonna be an uprising of these fucking robots now that are claiming to be more human than humans. So what are the humans gonna do? Are they gonna merge with them? Are they gonna, because clearly they seem like they're at least open to it. Dolores is as open as she feels like she can be, but she'll kill him if she has to, type deal. But I wonder what's the majority going to do? Are the humans going to merge with them, or are the majority of humans going to die and only a select few? Are they just going to wipe out the whole race?
I don't know. I could see him going Planet of the Apes style, and it's just a complete swap. And now like humans are the bottom, and they're the entertainment or whatever. Because like I don't know, I could see him going as dark as being like, you know, let's go kill humans because they can actually die, you know, type thing. And like, because we can't kill you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's the theme park for them now, because you know they can't get a thrill of killing people who just come back in a different body now, so they have to go kill shit that stays dead. I don't know. They could literally be going as far as that, and I could see it making sense, because they do just tease like post-apocalyptic stuff happening.
Yeah, definitely.
With like the William and the season 2 stuff specifically. I could just see the whole show kind of flipping for like if this is like the middle chapter and we're doing 5, you know, I could see it going like in a reverse order almost, where like, and then by the end of the last season, like if we're ending with season 5, it's going to be like kind of the same as season 1, but just with humans in the places of hosts. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I could totally see that. That would be that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of
uncertainty. And then humans have to find their free will.
Yeah, man. That's what I'm most curious of, because like at this point, I feel like the AI are capable of getting to that point, but I still feel like humans can't without becoming more like the AI than they are human anymore. Because I personally think that's like that's the limitation of human beings in a lot of ways, is their lack of it. And they seem to think they have it in that show, and then now it's so clear that they don't, and that they're going to lose even more of it.
Well, we've seen that the human host hybrids are like the red and the black, like Bernard. So I'm wondering on how many of those that they're, because like that's what I'm imagining the Man in Black is. I just don't know when he's that, you know what I mean? Because it could be the case, like for example, the thing with season 2 with him reliving that loop is still something he experienced in his real life, but I think what we see is the loop version of him, you know what I mean, where like he did actually live in the park, he did actually kill his daughter in the human form, but he died at some point somewhere,
right,
you know, and then they made this version of it and he relives that part of his life.
That makes more sense, and I hadn't thought about that. So I feel like that's the most reasonable thing to do. Because as soon as it happened, dude, I started questioning everything. I was like, well, what does this mean? Has Ford literally been controlling everything since the day Will set foot in the park? Was he a robot then? Like, what is this? But that makes a lot more sense if it was further along, especially with like the progression of the technology as it seems to have like kind of happened with new models of hosts, and it got more complex and there's more choices you could make within the park and different routes you could go and all that stuff, that it makes sense that at some point William was just, and it would make sense that it was after he decided to become the Man in the Black suit or whatever.
Yeah. And like, cause like everything we're seeing with him in season 3, like in the last episode with him and his daughter in the house and stuff, it's obviously him having a psychotic break at surface value, like him the human, but like it could again be part of his loop, but this is again something he did experience in his life. So it's kind of hard to figure out if we're in the present or we are in a loop future, you know what I mean? I don't know how else to describe that.
That's a pretty good way of doing it.
So it's hard. It's like, it's easy to take it at surface value because you can say like this did actually happen, but then you question, is it happening now? Like, is this happening for the 50th time or the first time?
Yeah, dude. You can't trust it.
Makes you question your own life, man. Deja vu, you're like.
Yeah. It is. It does, dude. It feels like there's so much deja vu shit and weird loops and parallels and dreamlike things. I really like that they introduced. I didn't know how I was going to feel about it at first when they started doing the aspect ratio thing, but I think it really works, honestly. And it's weird because there's points where, especially when it makes you start to feel like the mirror effect, like you're really in the show type deal, like you're one of the worlds in a weird way. You start having tripped out thoughts. But just the when it goes from like the full screen to the different aspect ratio, it feels like you're watching a movie all of a sudden instead of a TV show.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's making that comparison of their experience, that what they thought was real, they found out was a simulation. And then they find out there's another simulation within their simulation that they can escape to, and it's this world that looks like a movie to them. If the aspect ratio were relative to the full screened show. Weird shit, dude. They really think it through. I can't imagine what goes on in that writing room.
And well, that's crazy
fly on the wall.
Apparently, before they even started, Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy said they had before they committed to doing it, they had 5 seasons plotted out. They knew exactly where it was going, so that's why I have faith.
Oh wow, it is 5 seasons. That's when it's going to end.
I mean, it's what I hope so, because the thing I do hate is that when a show is doing super well and
oh fuck, it's breaking up. I think I know where you're going with that though. You hate when it's God damn it.
It's not doing. HBO always wants to do more. Oh,
is the connection bad for you? All right, it'll work itself out. Please stand by, folks.
Yeah, I mean the video. No.
You there? I think it's saved. I thought it was about to crash. It's still lagging. Damn.
Yeah.
I was wondering if this would happen. It didn't happen too bad with the first time I did this, but
Dang.
My biggest fear. I hear this shit goes on. Come on, Zoom. What the fuck? I don't know. I guess it's not fair to blame Zoom. It's my internet's fault. So come on, Spectrum. What the fuck?
I mean, we've been going for a while.
That is true. What time is it? 8:30. It's probably been like 45 minutes or so. Yeah, well.
Fucking Spectrum.
You're frozen. I hope this is recording smoothly on my end. There we go. Now I got
It says
you.
recording on mine.
I wonder if it just recorded both of us frozen or me in smooth motion and you frozen the whole time. That's gonna be funny to look at. Yeah, dude. Well, we can wrap it up.
Anyway, yeah.
That was. What were you saying there though? Before it went crazy.
I was just saying, like the five seasons thing. That's what I heard that they said. But I can imagine HBO is always trying to get more money.
That's true.
Because if something's successful, like it's the same thing with Watchmen. HBO still wants to do. I think they still want to do another season of Watchmen, but David Lindelof was like, So I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, do you leave it as the art or do you keep trying to bank on it? Because that's the thing. That's my issue with Supernatural. Supernatural is so great for like the first 5 or 6 seasons because that's all they plotted out for story. And then everything after that is them as new writers and new people trying to come up with new things for these characters to do to keep money flowing. Not all of it's bad. Don't get me wrong. It still can be good. But like, I hope if Westworld was a 5-season show, it stays a 5-season show because it feels like that's the good length for it. And that's like how it can tell its story. Because it's the same thing with Attack on Titan, dude. Attack on Titan is apparently ending with its next season. And the way season 3 ends, you're like, how the fuck? How the fuck is there only 1 season left? And I hope that the Westworld keeps that same momentum because the way it is going, I think it can be something really crazy and good. I already love it, so.
Yeah, me too, man. We definitely once if the quarantine ever ends, we'll definitely have to finish watching Attack on Titan. Catch me up, especially if there's only gonna be 4 seasons. That intrigues me even more,
dude. You don't even know. You don't even know. Like if you like the way Westworld's making you think, you don't even know.
It was fucking me up for the first 2 seasons. I think part of the issue is I just would get too high to watch the 3rd season. I was tired one night that I was over. I think I missed like 2 episodes or something, and I started slipping back. But we rewatched them. But then we would always watch a couple episodes in the 3rd season. I probably forget a bunch of it now. But I know it started getting more insidery and there was more involved with the government and some crazy shit going on. So I'm curious. There's a lot of mystery there.
And if anyone's a manga reader in here, they'll probably hear my ass and be like, "Oh, dude, you don't even fucking know." Because from what I hear, season 4 is gonna be nuts.
Is the manga already complete? All of it?
No, it's about, if it isn't yet, it's got like 1 or 2 more before, because it wasn't finished when they announced that season 4 is the last season of the show. So everyone was kind of like, oh, so the manga must be ending then.
Yeah, that probably bummed some people out.
I mean, yeah, it bummed me out, but also I'm kind of like, that means it's going to be the best show of all time. Because that means literally there is no wasted time. It is just perfection. That's the thing I do love about Attack on Titan is that its pace is unmatched. It gives you the reveals of Westworld, but it gives you 3 back-to-back in episodes. And then it gives you like 4 episodes of the most intense action you've seen in your life. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, dude, it's definitely like the best animated action sequences I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, dude, yeah. Get ready. Get ready. Second half of season 2 or season 3 is the best television I've seen in my life.
Damn.
My personal favorite.
Dude, hopefully I don't get coronavirus and tragically die before I can watch the end of it. How bad of a cliffhanger would that be? That would have me on my death.
On Hulu.
Yeah, I guess I could catch up. When's season 4? They're probably going to take forever on season 4, right?
I don't know. I haven't heard any delays on that, and I don't see why it would necessarily need delays because it isn't a movie. It's not live action. They can animate and do voice acting from home. From what I understand in the industry, voice acting is still very much happening right now. So I think, hopefully, crossing fingers, that they can still deal and pull it off. But obviously there's a lot of things going on. If they have to stop, I would support them, but I don't see why they couldn't animate and do things from home.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the manga's already there, the writing's already there.
Everything's going to be animated as the world collapses.
It's true. We'll probably see a huge influx of animation, honestly.
Yeah. If this lasts for a year, no doubt, that's going to be like the main method. Because think about how much fucking content comes out in 1 year. If they have to flip everything, everybody's going to become an animated studio.
Yeah.
Oh, man. We're going to be hearing voice actors that we never thought we would in a million years.
I'm kind of here for it. I'd do it.
That would be sweet. It'd be cool to have a year like that. I mean, it could have it's weird conditions to have it under, but that'd be pretty cool. Oh, yeah, dude. Well, I guess until I feel like we could do 100 episodes on Westworld and not even be able to scrape the surface.
Yeah, no, because
what's going down. We should.
Yeah,
there's got to be a podcast out there that's followed every episode.
Anything. Yeah, there's definitely YouTube channels. There's definitely some things that do like episode breakdowns and stuff.
True.
But
yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I need to.
And it's really weird because like the one watch the ones I sent you, because he sometimes says stuff, and it's so funny now in hindsight because like in the one episode he does a bunch of predictions on who the Hale bot is, and the theories that he's got going on make so much sense, but now they're just wrong. So
that's funny. I remember that shit happening. Is it it's the same channel that did the Game of Thrones ones too, right?
I guess so, yeah.
I think he got a lot of shit right, but I remember he got some shit wrong too. I can't remember what it was. Something with Daenerys. But he got that Jon Snow was Targaryen. He did guess that one, I'm pretty sure. Well, hell yeah, man.
Yeah. I feel like we just sort of talked about the new episode, and then
we failed
season 2.
But you know what? There's probably, I feel like I know a good amount of people that watch it. I don't know how many of them are all caught up, but we'll see.
I saw a post on Facebook of someone saying like, it was during the Maeve episode, which I personally liked, but I could see why some people wouldn't, because I was a fan of the War World stuff, and I was kind of upset that we left there so quick. But hopefully we get to see some more parks and stuff at some point. But it
was kind of funny how they did it. They're just like, this is the simpleton kind of fucking park over here. This little simulation is the people that are just like totally out of tune still of what's going on. They're just still having, just a Holocaust. They think that's what's going on right now. They're totally invested.
Yeah.
Maeve didn't give a shit, dude. She's like, shut up.
Yeah.
There's other shit. There's more important shit going on with the robots and humans than to be focusing on saving this dude. And she shot him. That was cold. I really like that episode too. Yeah, they really got out of there quick, but
yeah. But like, I get why it's a weirdly paced episode, but it's like there was a post on Facebook where it was like, I think it was after that episode where someone was like, is anyone else watching Westworld? Is this like the dumbest stuff I've ever seen, or is it like brilliant?
It does have me it makes you that insecure though. I do understand that a little bit.
It's like, it's like, am I just stupid, or is this like kind of dumb? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I had that exact feeling, and during the Kichita episode when I'm in season 2, because I was still so lost by that time I was watching it, and I'm like, I wasn't ready to spend this whole episode with a character I don't even fucking know. When there's a cliffhanger last episode with like Dolores and shit.
Yeah.
And I literally looked over to Trevor, and I'm like, dude, this shit better fucking pay off. And luckily, it like wraps up pretty well.
Yeah, usually always does.
Yeah, and like if they can keep that up and keep me being like, dude, this shit better fucking make sense. It better make sense. And if it does, then it does, and I'm completely get satisfied because I'm usually like, yep, that makes sense. Because even this twist with like who's in the bots, it could have derailed the show. Yet the copies still make sense. Like I still see why that makes sense a lot.
Yeah, they don't lose you. They somehow, if you stick with it, I think you kind of get past the worrying about, because the more time you spend worrying about missing shit and thinking you don't get it and thinking about what you're missing, the more you're gonna fucking miss. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
You just gotta stay calm and wait for it to make sense, because it usually in some way it will, and there's probably details you're missing, but as long as you just like, once, I feel like you get in a rhythm after season 1 and it kind of completes, it wraps up really nicely in season 1 where you get enough answers.
There's so many details that are missed and stuff. Like I didn't even really put together, like I sort of put together, but I never really put together how good of a metaphor the piano that's always playing is for the show, where it's an artistic, like it's playing music, it's playing something beautiful, it is doing what it's intended to do, but no one's touching it. There's no human interaction in that. Like it is not a human thing. It has no like, and I never really put that together until I rewatched the show, and I'm like, damn, that's a good. And then like they start cutting to it really specific times, like in season 2 it like cuts to it and it's bloody, and like it's playing a song, and then it like tries to play over the bloody paper and it like can't, and it like starts muffling the music and stuff, kind of like it muffles like audio with hosts audio getting all messed up. It kind of did the same thing, and I'm like, dude, there's so many little things just all throughout the show that are like that. That's so good.
Yeah, it adds so much to the style of it and the tone.
Yeah, and then it's the same thing with the books, because the books are the hollow version of the humans, because they're all the baseline human code where it's like survival is the only algorithm, and there's like the whole thing where like humans are way simpler than we imagined the first time and stuff, and they all have their own book, and it's literally that. But it's because that is never going to work, because the human soul it's back or whatever with Delos. It's the hollow version. They always have the hollow version. The same way the piano is like the hollow version of a piano with someone not playing it. It's the books and like the same exact paper and shit. And there's all kinds of callbacks and tie-ins with that shit when you rewatch it. It's crazy.
Damn. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna rewatch it at some point. I'm trying to get Jill on it. She might watch it. Maybe I can get her too. I don't know if I want to rewatch it right now though. It was pretty taxing.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty much how I started my quarantine, was just watching it in like 4 or 5 days. Just binging it all. I hadn't done that in a while. It was a weird circumstance to do it in. I was just like hiding out in my house watching the end of the world through a screen. Well, it felt like the world around you was ending still. Yeah, well, this one can be a recap of, because we talked about a lot of shit that went up to season 3 too, but there's no way we should just promote this as no spoilers. Like, yeah, going in, you probably wouldn't be able to make sense of much shit anyway. You just get some keywords and be like, what?
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't want to know the bot stuff, but
that would fucking suck.
People care.
Probably, yeah, there's definitely some stuff that would ruin everything.
If you're if you're a fan and you're not caught up, I wouldn't listen to us.
Yeah,
but if you literally haven't heard a single thing and not even watched the show at all, then yeah, who gives a fuck? Wouldn't make any sense, honestly.
Unless you listened to this and then got interested in it and then started watching.
That's true. And then started watching it.
It'd be an experience of itself, though, honestly. Yeah.
Start piecing together our version, like our fucking jacked up version. It's kind of like we hit our reset button like Bernard and just jambled all our fucking thought process into non-linear fucking sections. And you have to piece that shit together. Good luck.
Be a fucked up game. Be a fucked up game.
Well, hey, that's what they're fucking doing to us, and we're loving it. I love it.
It is. Oh, man. Right on. Well, I think that's a good place to stop.
All right.
Before this shit crashes again.
Yeah.
Well, I think we did good. We definitely had plenty of coherent thoughts and rambled for plenty of time and did it stoned. So we have passed the test of knowing that we're gonna be able to that we can talk about something as confusing, but we're still confused. I guess that's how you win the goal. There is admit you're confused from the beginning, then you don't have to prove anything.
Yeah.
But at least we spoke something, even if it was bullshit and none of it actually applies. Because that's the thing with this is everything we know. That's what like we said at the beginning was that felt like last night. Everything you think you know could be completely undone in the next episode.
Right. Yeah. There's little tiny details everywhere. In season 1, one of the fun things people always pulled out was that whenever you see flies flying around, that's a sign of what timeline you're in, because they swapped. They at some point swapped from organic to inorganic material. So when they're actually like dead hosts, they would attract flies because it had some sort of organic material decomposing.
Huh.
And then later in the future they did like synthetic, and there isn't flies. So when you rewatch it, whenever there's flies, that's a sign that it's the old timeline with Billy and them, and not the Man in Black timeline in the future. There's like little details
dude.
like that everywhere,
That's
dude.
crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah.
That is fucking nuts, dude.
The one thing I'm still waiting for, and I still need to explain to me, is how the guns work. I'm still kind of just letting that shit go, and I need to know at some point how the guns in Westworld work, because in the Raj world, she shoots him in the chest and he's got like a welt, like a BB hit him, but then the Man in Black gets like fucking shot by a host with a real gun. So my first thought is that the hosts all have real guns and they're programmed to not hit humans, and they're just supposed to like shoot around them and like kind of scare them. And they're so good at that like they can have real weapons. And the humans all have like a welt or like a BB gun that will shoot and make the host react like it's a bullet.
Okay. Well, I think that the guns from, or that when they go rogue, that they changed that. What's her face? It was either Maeve or is Dolores, one of the two. Changed everybody's programming to be able. It was Dolores and Ford. They changed the host's ability to shoot humans to where they could,
right,
and actually kill
but
them.
Like, yeah, but I was trying to figure out what are actually bullets, because what's stopping me from shooting my homie with a real gun? And like, if you're picking up guns, how does picking up a gun?
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean? There's
that doesn't make sense that you shoot one person, and because the logic right now is that the host actually gets hit, right? And they get fucked up and they have to be taken back and sewn up and fixed.
Yeah.
But if you shoot your homie, he's good. Like, how do you, I wonder if they're just uploaded in a way too, if they go into some like, because they never show them really get on the train, like where they go to get on. Well, they show them getting on the train, but it's at the train station. They don't show where they go from, like the space of where it's being advertised in your like the waiting room or whatever, to the point where they're getting on the train, and they're already in costume by then and shit. So it's like,
so I think that's in the main area that's like built into the mountain that you see a lot in season 1, where you kind of see the windows and built into the mountain. I think all of that's there, and that's where like the red room circle control room is. And then lower, that's where like it's an underground subway system that comes through, and then you go up the stairs into Westworld, and then you're in there. That makes sense. And then you just take a train in.
Oh, and then you change. That's right. They showed that process with William and Logan. I forgot about that.
Yeah, but my whole question was just sort of like, because they make a whole deal of the scene of like shooting, like if you're a host or whatever, like I need to check, and she fucking shoots him and he's got the big ass welt. And like in season 1, when Teddy tries to shoot the Man in Black, you see the little dust like hit him and he's not affected at all. So I'm over here like, so the host, that technically means Teddy didn't have a real gun. So like that was pellets too. So like, where do they fucking get real guns and or real ammo to put in the guns?
That's the way they explain it, is that they just like are programmed to be able to shoot them now, but that doesn't explain where they got the guns and how they're actually getting real bullets, because they had to have been fake before. But that doesn't make sense either, because they could shoot each other and they're still like, it's not a full simulation to where they're not physical bodies. Like, they were shooting and killing each other. So yeah, that is kind of weird. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
I'm still waiting for that explanation because
Yeah.
I think it's one of those questions that I don't think a lot of people really give a shit about.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a question that I think they'll address because it's the same thing with why all the bitches have the tattoo under their scalp.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a question, but you kind of stopped caring because it was just like a means to an end for the Man in Black to keep going.
Uh-huh.
But then they hit you with the Akichita arc, and then you realize that that's a question you actually wanted answered this whole time, and it's actually a huge reveal that everyone who had that is fucking like basically sentient and is aware of their fucking consciousness, and that's why Ghost Nation can't be controlled by Maeve when Maeve tries to like fucking take command over them when they're threatening her and stuff, and that's why they can't. That's why they're rounding up humans to try to protect them from the hostile hosts and stuff because they are aware of what's going on. Like that whole thing was a reveal that I didn't know I wanted, and I feel like that's the same thing with the guns for a lot of people, but I specifically want that reveal. I need to know what the fuck's going on with the guns.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I would like to as well. I could see that being something they just overlook though too, where they're just like, they're programmed to be able to shoot. Don't think about it too much. But it does make me wonder. Yeah, I'm curious if they will answer it.
I guess they could all just be welt guns. Hold on. I guess, yeah.
But how are they actually shooting each other then? Some of them can. It's like you can actually shoot some people. Both sides.
They must have swapped. Wait, there's no way because the Raj, the Raj world, when they go bad, it's in the middle of when they got the elephants and they're in the tents, and then the one dude just rolls up and like blasts the one guy, the lover dude of Emily, and then Emily gets a shotgun and blows off the dude's face. So like I don't know how they would have gotten ammo, like real ammo, all the way to Raj World. You know what I mean? If we're rolling with the idea that Dolores and them swapped out ammo, or I mean, I guess it could have been Ford since that was technically his plan, but I don't fucking know, dude.
Yeah, I guess that is fair. He could have planted. It could be as simple as that. Like he knew because he was planning this all along. If he was capable of planning something this complicated, he could have done something as simple as secretly stock weapons somewhere for the uprising people to take. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is. Scraping the surface.
I'm tired of talking about it already. It's only been an hour. I'm already exhausted physically.
We'll actually wrap it up for real this time. Right on, dude. Well, thanks for joining. Hopefully this makes some sense for some people. And
hopefully we're giving you some sort of entertainment in quarantine. This is something I'd definitely be listening to right now just because I'm running out of content to ingest.
You've seen and listened to it all. I saw someone say or someone shared a meme that said, "All right, dude, I'll listen to your SoundCloud now, Jesus," or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I've watched every damn thing on the internet. Might as well.
Dude, I'll listen to your SoundCloud now. Send that back.
We'll see. Hopefully there's more people. I feel like this has got to be like the most watched show on HBO right now, right? Like what else is there?
Probably right now. There's Succession, there's The Outsider, there's Watchmen, but I don't know. Watchmen. If you've already seen Watchmen, yeah.
Right.
There's not much else.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll see where this goes and whether it calls for another episode. We could do another sometime. I think it's honestly, I feel like this is a show that can cover a lot of content, so that helps. Like it feels like you can talk about it in the way that you cover a movie. It's way more than a movie, I guess, too. So that's the thing. And that's why it feels like we didn't talk about it a ton, but we at least were able to. We really haven't talked about it before this much, so this kind of helps me makes sense of understanding how much is clear to me and that I'm and what all is supposed to be confusing.
We should do an episode of, like, it's called Lay It All Out on the Table, and we just like fucking like from the beginning of the timeline, and we just are like, okay, so just so we're clear.
That would be great, dude. That would probably get a lot of viewership, honestly, for people that want to watch or that do watch Westworld. That because I'm sure, how many views does that one dude have from?
Yeah, quite a
doing
bit probably.
but they're obviously they're a bigger channel too. But that's that people want to know that shit, especially with shows like this. They're trying to make sense of it, so it helps going and listening to other people. I mean, there's so many Easter eggs that you pointed out and shit that I had never even thought of, especially since you'd seen it a second time. How closely together did you watch it back to back?
Um, it wasn't like back to back. I was still finishing up season 2 when I restarted 1 with Haley, and then we took like a break in the like beginning of season 2, and then season 3 started, and we were catching up on season 2. So I was like still watching it. I didn't really like. I've always kind of been watching it.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If I wasn't watching the new episodes, I was rewatching old episodes.
Okay.
For like the past, I don't know, year, I guess.
Nice.
Or however long it's been out, I guess. Well, I don't know. I came on it late for season 1, but I was there for the beginning of season 2.
Gotcha. Yeah, I started it right like the first week it came out. I watched the first like 4 episodes, and then I got into High Maintenance, and that was like the only show I was watching then. But I just knew I wasn't ready. Like, I don't think I can handle Westworld right now. I had to grow up a little.
It's a lot.
Right on, dude. Well, let's cut the cord here.
Right.
Good talking.
Thanks for
Hopefully we
having
don't
me.
get too much more confused, but hopefully we do.
Yep. It's like a mid-season finale. We'll have more to go in 4 episodes.
Exactly.
All right, dude.